Before we begin, thank you very much to Joseph T for joining my Patreon campaign again. Thank you very much. Always nice to see your name pop back in. Joseph is one of those who comes in and out as they can afford to. There's nothing wrong with that. But in doing so, I technically owe him a shout out for January and February. So we're going to do 2 in 1. Just to kind of like cover bases here. So thank you very much, Joseph. I appreciate the support. All right, so today we need to talk about what was going on this weekend around town in order to really talk about what's happening in the toy store life as a result. So what is happening in town is there is a toy show. About 30 minutes north of here, there is a toy convention. It's actually technically a comic book convention, but they bring in, wrestlers, voice actors. They have booths for Funko Pops, Pokemon cards, all that kind of crazy stuff that you normally get at just like a general geek convention. They just pattern it as a comic book show. So, that's all well and good. Like, I don't really get to go to those. All the really good toy shows in Florida happen in the big cities, like your Tampas, your Orlandos, Fort Lauderdale area, that kind of stuff. So I never really get to go to any of those really big ones. So anytime there's a tiny one, even like a little one in town, it's a lot of fun to go and just wait around, walk around, just be in my element, even if it's just for a day, even if it's just for a few hours, and even if it's just a small little toy con, I can do laps of the dealer room over and over and not get bored of it. And that's kind of what all that these are. Like, it's the kind of show where they rent out the main ballroom of the convention and like the hallway leading to it. And that's really the only space there is. It's mostly just a place for vendors to come, set up a table, and try and sell their wares, whether they are hawking pops, cards, or 3D prints. So that's kind of common, like not like that. That's the kind of common little local toy show you typically get these days. So it's a lot of fun, and it's something that I really enjoy going to when I get the chance. The trick is I never really get the chance anymore. See, you would think that like being in the toy industry as deep as I am now would actually make it a really big thing for me to be able to go and advertise the store and all that. But there's a difference between me, a toy geek who would go there to browse around all day, and the boss of the toy store who wants to see it as an advertising opportunity. So, keep in mind, this is a place where there's a lot of toy vendors, but they have to drive in from, Sarasota, Tampa. They're roving, they're mobile. They bring in local audience, but they themselves don't have like a physical storefront. Or their physical store is so far away, no one really wants to drive all the way to it. So it brings in a lot of people who are looking for that kind of thing. But guess who the only local people are? Southwest Florida's only local shop. So that brings in a decent number of people. Like, it's a great opportunity for marketing, not only to kind of like negotiate and kind of trade inventory with other shops that happen to be there, but it's also great just for networking and advertisement, just to get our name out. It's worth the price of the table just to meet a whole bunch of local people who are looking for a store like ours. And even if they're 30 minutes away, if we are catering to the kind of things that they are after all the time, then that's a pretty good boon for us. Even if just a few of them make it down, it's usually the type that want to pay, a couple $100s every time they visit a shop like this. So that's the situation, and that's fine. But where it doesn't become fine is because I'm stuck here minding the shop when those toy shows are in town. I have to mind the shop because, even though I'm the toy expert, even though I'm the one who wheels and deals all day here at the store, it would make sense for me to go there. But number one, I would like hate staying at a table the entire time. I hate staying at the table the whole time, because all I want to do is go around and visit the booths and shop, and that's not what I would be there for. It's actually kind of grueling. It's kind of grueling to just be there just to sell stuff, because you're stuck to the table all day. And if you don't have an assistant, then you gotta you gotta have someone go get you lunch or mind the table when you need a bathroom break, something like that. So it's a lot more difficult than I think people realize. You're not just sitting at a table all day just waiting for stuff to sell. You kind of are. But the downside to that is that the table is your personal prison for the entire day. And there's just nothing you can do. Like, at least here, while I'm here working the shop, I can go to the bathroom whenever I need it. I can walk around and stretch and all that, or I can find busy work to do when I'm bored. No. At a convention, you're just stuck at the table for 7 hours, and hopefully you don't really have to pee at any point. And that's how that goes. So it's probably a good thing I don't go for that reason. The other reason is because I drive a Mini Cooper. We set up for 2 tables every time we go to those shows. I don't think I can fit the tables in the back of my Mini Cooper, let alone 2 tables worth of toys to try and sell. So that's not a great thing for us. That would not be a great situation. So I have to mind the fort. I have to stay here. I have to know that a toy show is going on, and I can't do anything about it. So that's unfortunate for me. In this case, with this show, probably for the best that it wasn't me, because there's a wrestler there that I would have really liked to have met. There's also a voice actor that I would really kind of like to punch because he was a jerk to a lot of my friends and victimized one of them. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Also, from personal experience, he's an egomaniac. So I personally don't like him from first-hand experience. So, good thing I didn't see him. Good thing I didn't go. But, yeah, for the most part, I don't mind sitting out, it's cool to go, but, I like being at the store here, too. It's fine. It's cozy. It's comfortable. I'm still in my element, even if I can't really go shopping at my own place. But the pitfalls to going to this show, the show being in town, means that everyone who is eager to spend money on toys over the week is there, and they're not here. So the consequence to this is that while we're trying to make money and get our name out at the store, at the convention by setting up, the store meanwhile is suffering. So, yeah, I don't mind being here during the show, except for the fact that I've just had nothing to do. It's been a very quiet weekend because all my regulars went to spend their money at the big show. So, it's been a lot of me just kind of sitting here, scripting out little videos or bullet pointing videos that I need to make, or it's me playing Pokemon Go, as it's community day today, and I got a bunch of Noivern. So it's mostly just me keeping myself idle. And I can't even, because typically, I hate being idle at the store. Typically, I'd get up, I would start, reorganizing shelves, I'd clean up, I'd try to figure out how to freshen the look of the store up, I would be active, I would get up and I'd go around and I would do things. So I hate just kind of sitting here doing nothing, because I need to feel like I earn my week's pay, If I'm just sitting here basically waiting for people to come in and make sure they don't steal anything, I don't feel like I'm earning my money when 6 people show up all day, So I need to feel like I earned it. So I was really bored this week, just waiting for things to happen and nothing happened. But doesn't mean I made no use of the time. You'll see what I did with the time, probably hopefully in the next couple weeks. But it's frustrating. It's frustrating because while we're here, we're still advertising the store. We're still telling every people, hey, this is the new stuff we got. We're open. Come to visit us too. And hopefully try to pull enough people in to still break even for the week. And then hopefully whatever sales they do down at the toy show, hopefully that makes up for whatever we're losing here this week. Now, for us, it seems like it went that way as far as I can tell, but it's always a crapshoot. So what happens is we load up 2 big bins full of toys. We try to go around, and every time we try something a little bit different. Sometimes we load it up heavy on Pokemon. Sometimes we try to be more comic book centric because it's a comic book show technically. And they sent with a lot of like Avengers, X-Men, Batman, that kind of stuff. And this time it was like, let's try to make the shop money. And so I sent like really, really nice stuff, this time. So like it's a different goal every time, but it's always just like a crapshoot. It is always just like throw a dart at the wall and hope something sticks, because you can't really gauge what the climate there is going to be like, or what people are going to be interested in buying, even based off of past experiences. Like this time, we knew that a lot of people were interested in the pro wrestling toys we had brought to the previous show, so I sent the boss there with a lot of wrestling figures this time, especially because they had a pro wrestling guest. So I figured that's going to bring out a lot of wrestling fans. So yeah, let's send them with wrestling toys. So you hope that plays out. You hope that hits a winner. It doesn't always, though. It's really hard to guess, like especially right now, because there's a lot of people don't have the cash to stick around and like throw a lot of money at frivolities, for lack of a better term, for these things that are completely frivolous but make life more enjoyable. So yeah, so big ticket items probably wasn't the best idea. So next time the goal is like, if we do the show again, because the show's going to be going on, they do the show every like 2 or 3 months. So if we go to the next one, now my brain is thinking low cost. Let's take a lot of stuff that's like low end, affordable, but still desirable. Things that like they're popular characters, but for whatever reason, people just like haven't raised the collector value on them. So maybe we can kind of like get them, maybe we kind of make sales just like on like little things like $15-$20, like I'm not going to miss the money type things. Hopefully, so it's a different strategy every single time, but until you actually get there, you have no idea if that's the correct strategy, which makes it really, really difficult for us. And it's a 1-day show. Like on a 2-day show, you could kind of bring everything back. You can bring everything back the same night, switch up your offerings, go back and kind of have a better idea. But we don't have that luxury on a 1-day show, at least. So that also kind of plays into what was going on. So yeah, it's fun for me because it's always on me. It's always the pressure that I have of like, okay, we're going to this show, pack up the boxes and I'll be here in like 2 hours to pick them up. Oh God, what do I do? Since we see it as an advertising opportunity, all I really have to do is make sure they make back the table's cost, which that's doable. That's not too bad. So we do that. That's no problem. We can get to that mark easily. It's like, but it's more like what is actually going to move, and me trying to play 3-dimensional chess in my brain with my own inventory. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that is the cost. The other risk to me going, as opposed the other risk to like me staying here and the boss going instead of me, is the boss really likes high-end stuff. He likes things that are like big and show-offy pieces for the shop. He likes like really fancy stuff. So we have this like back and forth on like what he brings back just to be like big display items in the store. It's always funny because like I have to cross fingers and hope that he's actually selling things and making money for the shop, because we're going to be out money while the store is competing with the show. But I'm hoping he does not spend everything he profits on some fancy thing at another booth that he wants to bring back here. Because I've tried to tell him that doesn't work economically. Like, at best, we could break even on something you do that with. But We've got a few pieces in here that are like that, and there's from the last couple shows, and they're still here. But that's, so that's kind of like the risk of him going as opposed to me, because he likes to spend on big flashy things. I'm like, just make the money. Please just make the money. So, just in case you think that like having a toy shop, I keep getting shop and show backwards in my brain, so I apologize. But just in case you think a big toy show in town is actually going to do good for a shop like this, not necessarily. Great advertising, yes, but it's also going to cost us in the short term because, it's competition that didn't exist the week before. Now, next week it's not going to exist, and everybody who likes to spend money on stuff will end up back here like they always do. But in the short term, it hurts. So the hope is you just cross your fingers and hope that there's a long-term gain to this just by getting your name out there and getting new people to discover you. That's the best you can hope for in this situation because, local toy show, like if you got a local toy store when a show is in town, be sure to, like, if you want to go to the toy show, fine. Nothing wrong with that. But make sure to pay your local toy store a visit on the same weekend, or make sure that some of your spending budget gets saved for your local toy shop, because I promise you, while that show's in town, they're going to be hurting, and they're going to really appreciate seeing someone coming in to drop money on them instead. So, those are my thoughts for the day. Thank you very much for listening to another tale from the toy store. More trepidation, more pitfalls I don't think a lot of people think about, but, they exist, and it's good to know, just in case you think this is all sunshine and rainbows. No. It's fun, but there are pitfalls, and you sometimes can't avoid them. And that's marketing in general. That's owning a toy store in general. And in this case, that's the toy store life. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.